In our last video, we talked about writing the introduction paragraph for our narrative essay. Today, I'm going to teach you how to write a conclusion paragraph for your narrative essay. I teach the intro and conclusion paragraphs before the body paragraphs because it's important to know what you're going to say. And then also we do the conclusion together in class usually because it's the hardest to write. And most of my students, they get to the end of their essay and they finish what they're going to say and then they just end it. But we've learned that the writing process is say what you're going to say it. Say what you said. Okay, so this say what you said part is really important. It recaps everything that you're talking about. And I like to tell a story about when I read the book. I'm going to forget what that book is called. When I read the book, Harry's Trees. Okay, I read this book. It was on lots of you need to read this book list. So I read it and I enjoyed it until the end, okay? And then they had this epilogue that's centered on a character that I hated the whole book, okay? Just didn't like that character, and the whole epilogue was it. And he was driving off into the sunset with this dog, and it just was like, ugh. I did not love it. And so when I think of Harry's Trees now, instead of thinking about the whole book that I really enjoyed, I just really think about, the ending was just terrible. I hated it. And you don't want that for your conclusion. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to write conclusion paragraphs in a way that makes your professor really happy at the end of your paper and doesn't leave a bad taste in their mouth. Okay. So let's look. I'm going to give you this handout for writing conclusion paragraphs, and then I will show you my example conclusion paragraph. So here's the handout, conclusion paragraph. This is also from John Langen's book, Exploring Writing, and we used his stuff for the intro paragraph. But 2 functions of the conclusion paragraph. Remind the reader of your thesis, okay? What did you say? And then end your paper well. Okay, so I want you to remind yourself what your thesis was, right? What you covered in your body paragraphs. And then you are going to summarize. So you're going to spend the first 1 to 4 sentences of your conclusion paragraph summarizing what you already said. You're going to take the first sentence. We'll come back to this in a second. First sentence, you're going to rewrite your thesis without your 3 points using different words. So you're not repeating your thesis, you're rewriting it in different words, okay? So it should sound similar but different. It is an echo of your thesis, okay? And then in the next couple of sentences, you'll rewrite your major details, your point A, point B, point C, point 1, point 2, point 3, okay? Point 1, point 2, point 3 in different words again. Okay, so it's not the exact same thing as your thesis. It's in different words, right? But you're providing just a reminder to the reader about what your points were. And then you'll end with thoughtful quote, prediction, recommendation, or your own powerful final thought. Okay, so those are the examples that he gives up here. Final thought here. A thought-provoking quotation maybe. Again, like we talked about with the intro paragraph, sometimes this can just come across really cheesy. So you might think about a new way to do this, or maybe something that's ironic, like you're writing about something serious and you put a quote by somebody who's normally playful, or something like that that makes it interesting, but you don't want it to just be like a boring, I found this on Google quote. Or end with a prediction or a recommendation. I am going to do that in mine. Okay, so again, the purpose of the conclusion is to summarize what you just said, right? To say what you said in your paper and end it well. Okay, here's my example. All right, I started my first day away from home filled with excitement, right? Because that was what the prompt question was. Describe your first day away from home. I centered my perspective on positive things while I disregarded the negative things and jumped right into a new life and a new place. Those are my 3 points. I summarized them all in 1 sentence. My then ex-boyfriend turned boyfriend, now husband, wishes, though, that I would learn to count the cost of a new adventure before jumping right in. I, however, am always ready for a new project or adventure. Okay? So I have this recommendation at the end, right? My husband, right, is consistently telling me, Emily, what's this going to cost us? What are we going to do about this? How much effort is this going to require, or something like that, right? I usually don't. Like I just told you in this whole essay, right? I focus on the fun stuff and don't focus on the not fun stuff. So despite his many attempts to change this about me, I haven't changed very much since we got married. So that is my conclusion paragraph for my essay. Again, this is a rough draft, okay? And so you'll go back and you'll edit this later, but right now you just want to get everything out of your brain and onto the page in a way that is interesting, but also really ends your paper well, talking about the things that you just talked about, okay? No introducing new ideas. These are things that I've already covered, but they're in here in a way that ends my paper well. Good luck writing your conclusions.